Advisory Board to order on Monday, August 7th. Yeah, May was a while ago. Brandon, could you please do the roll call?
I sure can. Margie Davy,
Here.
Lisa Marone, Ken Osmond,
Here.
Megan LaFond,
Here.
Lakeisha Hayes,
Present.
Vic Oliver,
Here.
Brad Spanbauer.
Here.
You, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We have quorum. Seeing nobody for public comment, I'm guessing, as we're the only ones in the room. I would take a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting on July 6th.
So moved.
Seconded.
Thank you. Can we do that with a voice vote? Yes, we can. Okay. Everybody in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The first thing that we had on our agenda tonight is discussing our Facebook content and how we can make that happen. Last month at our meeting, we were talking about some of the outreach things that we can do. And this is one thing that we can do that'll maybe really make us more visible in the community. So we were hoping that we could figure out a way that we can help Brandon, since he has to be the one who's posting, a way to give him content on a regular basis. So, does anybody have any ideas on that?
Short of us doing it, there's a young group of students for the SBDC that need practice doing social media content creation. I'm currently working with them right now. There's also kids in the students in the environmental studies area that could probably help us out.
I mean, it was good. The way I envisioned it was similar to how you did it before, where, the month, it's kind of a schedule throughout the year. So this month it covers this subject, this month it covers that subject.
Yeah, we had like a monthly theme, so to speak, and then each of the posts and pictures went with that theme, or fun facts or what have you when I did it.
So if you have a contact, Ken,
That'd
you
be
could send it to me and I can maybe reach out to their advisor and see if they're interested in participating in something like that.
Sure.
We can and if they come up with some content, we could, or some ideas for each month, we could review it here before we push forward with it, maybe.
Yeah, because if we create the calendar,
Right.
they can just follow it.
Or that's
And
fine
the
too.
calendar is the easy part. It's the content that is incredibly time-consuming.
And then maybe that way we can encourage some of these students to attend our meetings and
That'd be great.
get content.
Yeah, and if they
That
have
would
any
be-
questions and stuff, definitely give them my contact info. I used to do it for this group.
And so is,
Talking through the themes.
so is the idea that the students would create the content, but it would still get funneled to Brandon for posting?
Has to.
Yeah, because you have
Yeah.
to post it.
You
Yeah.
Through us to,
Password.
yeah.
Got it.
It has to be a city employee who's doing the posting because it's a city site. Another option that we could do would be for one of us to just create a different Facebook, site and post to it. But then we can't say that it's City of Oshkosh. It wouldn't have all we can do is sustainability with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to try funneling stuff to Brandon and see if we can get enough content that way, because I think it's going to be found by the public.
Agreed.
Okay.
I think that would be great. I'm Kate Qualley, by the way, the Assistant Community Development Director. Just like you guys were talking about last time about, after May, June, July, post-May, no mo May type of things. And if anybody's interested later, I referred to some really kind of excellent sheets from the DNR or the Wisconsin Monarch Collaborative. That would just be one topic. And then whatever it is that you guys choose for the calendar, between students and staff, when we get moments, input from, the council members, whatever the hot topics are, it's easier then to focus, because right now there's just everything, even for staff. So anyway, thank you.
Sure. Okay, well then, we're going to have Ken reach out to a contact. He's going to pass that on to Brandon if there is anything. If they have questions, you can give them Vic's contact info, which I assume you have, Ken. If you don't, she'll happily give it to you afterwards. And we'll see where that takes us, right?
Sounds good.
Good plan.
This is August, should be all set for September, right? Just like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and we should all be thinking of monthly themes then. Which reminds me of another monthly theme that we are going to need is going to be something for the award that we do with the Rotary Club. We need to
Start
start
thinking about that.
advertising that.
Okay, that's a good idea. I can
Yeah.
kind of regurgitate that post again, yep. We
Yeah.
can, again, every time we share those things, we'll then share it on the community development page as well. And whoever else decides to share it, so
Great.
get it out there.
And it's just a Facebook account, right?
Yep.
There's no Instagram, no.
Just Facebook?
We never got there. It was
Well,
a goal.
there's only so much that can be done, actually, but.
But yes, it'd be cool if we could do that.
Environmental Leadership Award, yeah?
Yes.
That's fun.
Okay, well, I guess that had discussion, needs no vote. Anything else on that from anybody? Okay, moving on to the electric vehicle readiness plan, a staff update.
Yeah, so the Transportation Department has engaged with East Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission to do an electric vehicle readiness plan. So I just thought it was important for you all to be aware that that has occurred. I found out that East Central did hire a consultant to help with it, so it's underway, it's moving forward. The purpose of that project is to complete an electric vehicle readiness plan in the Oshkosh area. The goal of the project is to make the Oshkosh MPO plug-in electric vehicle ready by developing a plan that provides a vision for EV readiness, identifies key partnerships and actionable strategies needed to achieve the vision, and facilitates community support for electric vehicles. So, as that project kind of continues, I'll update you guys, and if there's going to be like stakeholder groups and stuff, so I mean, I think that when those moments come, if you guys are interested in attending, you could, or one of you wants to attend, I'll share those dates with you as they come out. But it just kind of started, and they're looking to complete it by October of next year. So the next year, that'll consistently be occurring.
Which department was that, did you say?
The Transportation Department. Any questions? I don't really know a ton. It's kind of just in the beginning, so.
Does anybody know what MPO stands for? I don't.
I think it stands for Metropolitan, like I think it's an area. There's an Appleton MPO and Oshkosh MPO. I think it's an area.
I mean, MSA is a metropolitan statistical area.
Metropolitan Planning Organization.
Metropolitan Planning
Planning Organization.
Thank you, Megan. It was a silly question. It's at the touch of our fingertips. Thank you. Okay, then the next thing up, and the main thing that we need to discuss and take action on tonight, is to recommend to the council that we approve professional services contract with UW Oshkosh Sustainability Institute for Regional Transformation, otherwise known as HURT, for $28,300 to help with educating the staff of the city. Is that right? No.
Yeah, no, that's good. Sorry, I was responding to Vic's question. So I'm passing around a piece of paper. This is, it looks similar to like when we write a resolution. This is not a resolution. So what I've discovered over the last month in working with Brad and Kelly and the community development director, that the city manager is authorized to approve professional services agreements that are under $75,000. So he'll report on this, if you guys would like to push this forward and he approves it, he'll just make a report. It'll be part of the city manager announcements at the August 22nd council meeting. So if you would like to show your support in city staff requesting this funding, I would just recommend that you make a motion to approve it, and then we'll pass it on to the city manager. And being that his goals this year align pretty well with sustainability. I mean, it's mentioned directly in his goals, if you remember. I would be hopeful that they'll pass this. And the plan is then that we're going to hire Brad if this goes forward. And Brad's going to help with a number of action items that we've kind of worked through over the last month and figuring out. We had to figure out that number a certain way. So I don't know.
Didn't
if
just
you-
pull it
feel
out of
free-
thin air, huh?
Feel free to add whatever you want, Brad. However, he'll be abstaining from the vote.
Yeah, so I think in working with staff and having conversations about the kinds of work that they would like to see done in support of work that Brandon currently does in his role as liaison to this board. It is my understanding, and Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, that city staff and city manager and others feel that there is a need for additional work to be done that would fit within the purview of a sustainability professional to conduct that work. And so
Yeah, you're nailing it on the head. So if you remember last year, right, when we asked for the sustainability manager and it got turned down, but when council members were here, they were like they wanted this group to ask for something, put something on the paper and come to us and ask for something. So this is kind of what we came up with to do that. So Brad will help. My big hope out of this is that we've already shared our energy data with him, and that he can maybe, in working with me, we'll be able to get that in a nice form, and then maybe hopefully engage that nonprofit from Chicago that can do energy analysis, like plan, and we'll see what that energy innovation grant has for 2023, and if we're ready to potentially apply for that grant for one of the activities that will be available. I'm hoping that all the work that we do from now leading into November will have us set up for being able to apply for that grant money. So,
I just read through this,
Yeah.
Since we didn't have it in our packets. I think it's important to note that this will also help fulfill the sustainability plan that we've
Yep.
had accepted twice, although we're probably ready for another update, because the sustainability board is that old. Wow. And also the City of Oshkosh 23-24 strategic plan, so, as well as helping our city manager hit his goals, so.
correct.
Okay, any further any discussion on this that anyone was listening to go back? Everybody think this is a fine plan? Should we vote on it?
I move for a vote.
I have a second.
Second.
So the motion is to approve.
To approve as written your resolution.
We'll recommend this to the city manager for approval. Great. Thank you.
Okay, so we have it on the table and it was seconded, right?
That was
Okay,
Ken
and this-
and Megan? Ken and
I
Vic?
did it.
Okay.
And this, I do believe we need
I think we probably should do a roll call vote on
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Okay. So Ken,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Keisha,
Present.
Vic,
Yes.
Brad's abstaining, and then Margie,
yes.
5-0. Okay.
I was just present. I didn't say yes.
Oh, my
Stated,
bad.
she just stated her last name as president.
Sorry.
And that's because it's going to the council, right?
Correct.
And Brad, we know why you abstained. That was the appropriate thing to do, thank you. Okay, so that passed, and that was the big thing that we had to accomplish tonight.
Yes.
Yes, so that's done.
I'm hopeful. I hope that this kind of sets the groundwork for the future.
Right.
I mean, there's a chance to get more grants besides that with
Absolutely.
more structure. And maybe to have subcommittee work or whatever it is that the group decides is the most important elements out of the projects.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
So we and Brad will hit the ground running
Yes, you will.
before school starts.
I think you're both free in the morning, right? No, kidding. I know you probably.
Some days.
Yep. So future agenda items, I had put on resiliency planning, and I did have the opportunity to meet with the city manager this last week and asked if there is anything in the city, any sort of resiliency plan at all. In talking to him, I found out that his definition of a resiliency plan and my definition was different because I'm coming at it from sustainability and he's coming at it from emergency management. For the city of Oshkosh, there's not really a resiliency plan either, but what there is through emergency management would be handled by the fire department, the fire chief. So that's there. What the city would view this as resiliency planning would be if there's a disaster, what do we do? From a sustainability standpoint, I was viewing it more as we know that things are going to happen because of climate change. How can we start looking at our city codes, for example, to be sure that, to plan for the future as it may become? So, and I do have some information on that I can have somebody come in and talk to us about too. But, and you probably have something that you would like to share.
I do. This past year, UWO funded a team of faculty to look at resiliency planning, and they did it on a municipal, or actually they did it on a county level basis. One of the counties that they analyzed was Winnebago County, but they looked at 3 others within the state of Wisconsin. Their goal, I would say, aligned more with emergency response, but certainly touched on environmental hazards, etc. But I think they were also strategically focused on minoritized communities, underrepresented communities, and how well those people were, factored into, right, or how well that was looked at in an emergency response plan. Concurrently, the university has been undergoing a climate action and resilience plan, and so we actually kind of merged or aligned our work to say, what are you finding in the resilience planning process that you're undertaking? What are we finding in the resilience process that we're undertaking? It could be such that, our findings could be worthy of a presentation to this group that might help just elucidate, here's what we found, here's what we're seeing, and that could help point direction from a climate and sustainability perspective, but certainly also from a emergency response planning perspective, with these additional lenses of, we've got communities of people who need to be considered, folks with disabilities, again, minorities, lower economic statuses, right? There are lots of different ways in which emergency response is going to look very different for different people, right? For a variety of reasons. So our initial results, I think, were kind of interesting. We could do a presentation if we did.
Does this sort of thing include discussing restoration? For example, we just had a pretty significant weather event here in Oshkosh this past week, where a specific section of the river lost 8 old-growth trees. That impacts bank erosion, it impacts spawning areas for fish and things like that. And then what other communities are experiencing around the country is that low-income areas, when they lose housing, affordable housing, because of weather-related events and climate events, that housing doesn't get restored in an equitable fashion. In fact, it just gets erased. So is that the kind of thing that gets included in this? And
I can't speak to specifically, what what they're addressing on kind of that community level piece, but my guess is yes, they're touching on that in their research. And so this is folks from public administration and criminal justice who, have really delved into that. But it might be worth having a presentation if we were, to kind of go down the line of resilience planning.
Well, and I think it's something important for the public to understand that this even exists, that, and even with, deciding if they're going to build right on the water or, put in the new dock or whatever, it can be helpful. So, that is definitely something for the future. Does anybody else have any other, ideas you'd like to have us put on a future agenda? Other issues that we maybe haven't been addressing?
Yeah, and if not now, right, anytime between now and the next 3 weeks, if you come up with something, just it's important that you let me know. We get on the agenda.
Do we need to circle back at all? Because several meetings ago, we were talking about tree planting and shade creation throughout the city. Did we ever plan on returning back to that topic? It was a outside presentation, and the students brought it up again in one of their presentations.
Quite honestly, Ken, one of the things that we were discussing earlier was the fact that we have, the students have done all these marvelous programs and research projects for us, and then they kind of just sit there on the website. So what I was going to suggest is that we all take another look at the sustainability website and see what the students have done in the past. And I know there are things on there that we could be addressing that we've either forgotten about or, it didn't move forward at that time, but maybe it could now. So I think that might be a really good way for us to choose where we're going for the next few months.
Okay.
The thing is with what we're doing to help forward the goals that the city manager has, we have more capacity than that. So it would be nice if we have other projects also to be working on. And yes, putting Facebook posts together is something that really needs to be done and will help everyone. But it's not, we could do more. That's all I'm saying. So,
Madam Chair? Because of the cross-departmental and also cross-discipline nature of what the group has been discussing, it might be valuable to bring our city forester in toward Mr. Osmond's specific ask, because I know the Oshkosh Foundation has been funding tree planting, and to kind of see where they're at with replacement of green ash and what grants they've gotten from the DNR as well as local, to see, if that needs a bump and where they're at with native tree populations in it and that kind of thing. I mean, because sometimes we get siloed ourselves in government, and there are cool things happening in other departments, but just a thought. I did know that the foundation, though, specifically was providing some funds to augment city tree planting. Thank you.
and I know Oshkosh has been it's been a tree city for a number of years and has had a very robust planting schedule, actually. And we've dealt with this about 10 years ago. We dealt with putting trees, having the city replant trees in the terrace when there was some kind of street work that was done. That is very much dependent on what's underground. You know, because there could be as many as 5 utilities going underground right where they're thinking of putting a tree, and that's not a good thing to do then. So,
Yeah, but I believe.
so in the past, we've had some discussions, but we could have the city forester come in and say,
Yeah.
bring us up to
Just a
date.
thought.
But yeah, and I think if he comes, he's going to tell you that they are planting as many trees that they can to their capacity. Is what I'm betting the answer would be.
Yeah.
You know?
I know certain times in the past, there have been community organizations who have chosen to purchase so many trees and help plant them.
Yep.
But of course, they sort of need to be monitored by somebody who knows what they're doing. You give me a tree and tell me to plant it, I can put it in the ground, but I can't guarantee anything after that. So, well, we can't really discuss that
Yeah.
except to put it on for a future agenda.
Sure.
So,
Madam Chair, So the programs that they have, and they're shorthanded, of course, as Brandon alluded to. But to your point exactly, at the city of Fridley, we got bare root trees in the spring, or the fall, or we had gravel beds to bring small trees along and then planted them in early fall when the rains were more plentiful. And it was, all the parks in the city were replenished with hundreds of trees, something like 700 trees, all planted 100% by volunteers, with only a few qualified, it's gardeners and people that love trees and people that were raw amateurs. So exactly right. If it's something that needs to be expanded upon and they don't have the staff, as Brandon said, that still doesn't have to stop it moving forward if that became a priority for the group.
Exactly, yeah. But again, we'll save the rest of the discussion on that for when it's actually on our agenda. Do we have anything else that anyone would like to add to or suggest? Or do y'all want to wait until you can go back and see what the students have recommended? Brad?
Just a couple of things to bring up, and this can just be for future agenda items. So, and I may have mentioned this at our last meeting, but I saw a really interesting presentation by a group called the Wisconsin Local Government Climate Coalition. There are lots of municipalities that are already they've kind of become members of this coalition. I do know that their executive director, I think, would be interested in coming to just give a presentation to this board about what they are, what they do, and so maybe that could be a presentation at the beginning of one of our upcoming meetings, perhaps September or October. So just throwing that out there. To that end, I will also...
That's the one that we've been communicating about, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
To that end, I think maybe next time a discussion, so if we want to put this on as a discussion item for next time, is thinking about this board and our reach, and I guess our ability to host events. And I guess maybe by events I mean just to be able to host speakers, so public opportunities for the public to learn. I think that could happen at this venue, which is a monthly meeting, and perhaps it would align with the sort of the social media monthly theme. If November's monthly theme is salt awareness, maybe the monthly presenter is someone from Wisconsin Saltwise, who I know we've had before, but it might be worth. There may be some speakers who we would want to host as a presentation for folks who would tune in and be new to the information. So I think I'd be curious to discuss it that way, or to host publicly noticed speaking events outside of our meetings that would serve as a better outreach capacity for the community.
Like we did with Focus on Energy at the library earlier when Megan and Pat put that together. Right?
Correct.
And then we did sort of a mini presentation of it here then later.
And I was told, and I'm not sure, we didn't pay, right? Did Pat didn't pay for that room, right? Okay. 'Cause,
No.
yeah, if we do it at the library, it's a perfect spot to do it. We can get those rooms for free.
Yeah, we got it for free.
Unlike the general public, we are related to the city who owns the library, right? Okay, was there anything else? With that then, I would entertain a motion to, not quite yet. Our next meeting is different, folks. It's on Thursday because of Labor Day, so it'll be Thursday, September 7th in this room. So then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Great.